One, what's your take on CHH and the state of CHH right now? What's your take on the name, I guess, the titling of CHH, and what do you think the state of CHH is right now?
CHH. I think CHH is whatever you want it to be right now. If you think it's great, it'll be great. If you think it's trash, you can find things wrong with it. I think all in all, when you are pressing into an industry and you want to be a part of an industry, you want to be a part of a community, you are setting yourself up for a lot of letdown, because it's like going to a new school and you don't know anybody and you want to sit with the jocks, you want to sit with the athletes, or you want to sit with the cool kids. A lot of people get into CHH and assume that because they're talented or whatever, because they love Jesus, that they just get to go sit at the cool kids table. And that's what it is. It's you're the new kid at a school you've never been to. What are your expectations? Now, if you're talented, if you're cool, if you're good looking, if you got all these things going for you, you're friendly, you are in proximity, you have a class with one of the cool kids, you're on the basketball team, right? All these things play a factor, and then you can get to the cool kids table. Right? But it's not just going to be, oh, we're all Christians and do hip hop and love Jesus, so therefore I should hang out with RG and DJ Mike LV and be with the cool kids. That's just not how it works. Those, you know what I mean? Like that's not the world. Now, so that you're just setting yourself up for letdown. You're setting there's expectations there. You're expecting collaborations. You're expecting people to embrace you. You're expecting all these things. You're expecting Rapzilla to cover you. You're right. There's all these expectations, and you're probably going to get let down, and then you're going to be like, CHH is trash, it's an industry, ministry over industry, right? You guys have heard this rhetoric, and then you're like, oh man, this sucks. Where if you had just not even looked at it that way, and you said, hey, I'm a Christian, I love Jesus, I'm going to find other Christians that love Jesus and make hip hop, but I'm not even going to focus on this. I'm just going to go build my own thing over here. Those are the people that long term win, and they win big. They win big. Best examples, 2 examples I could give you more. Toby Wigway, right? You guys are all familiar with him?
Mm-hmm.
He was a Rapzilla freshman. I don't know if you guys know that. He was a Rapzilla freshman. I talked to him right after the nomination. You know what he told me? I don't care. And a lot of people would have been like, I'm a Rapzilla freshman. I'm so excited. This fool was like, I'm not, what? No, I don't care, right? And what happened? Toby Wigway is bigger than just about every Christian hip hop artist right now, with the exception of Lecrae and NF.
Yeah.
Come on.
Again, there's a place for features, there's a place for collaboration, there's a place for blogs, there's a place for all this stuff. But so many of us are getting into this thing, and we feel entitled that because we love Jesus and we're good at basketball, that we just get to pull up and hang with the cool kids. And that's just not how nothing in life works this way. Nothing in life works this way, guys. Nothing. No industry, no community works this way. But because we're Christians, we attach it to this. And here's the thing. You're literally fighting over the same 100,000 Instagram followers. The same, that's what you're fighting for. You're fighting for the same 100,000 Instagram followers. Rapzilla has 100,000 Instagram followers. Reach has 200,000 Instagram followers. You're fighting over that when, again, Toby Wigway has 600,000, 500,000, right?
Yeah.
Nick D is at 70,000 in a year and a half. He's at 70,000 Instagram followers in a year and a half. In a year and a half, no reach records, no major collaborations, no 116 playlist, not a ton of press on Rapzilla, right? Why? Because Nick D put his money where his mouth is. He made a good product, and he really went all in. And that's why he is where he is, right? And I could give you guys multiple examples of guys. Foggy Raw, another example. And all the Christian rappers keep trying to put Foggy Raw on his records. And he's like, I'm not changing who I am. I want to say the N-word in my music. I'm not sending my music to Rapzilla. I don't want to be a Rapzilla freshman. Foggy Raw doesn't have the greatest numbers on Instagram, but Foggy Raw makes really good money, and he does it on his own terms. You know what I mean? So there's a ton of examples like that. So I just don't think it's valuable to try to go into something that it is an industry. It is a business, guys. It is a business. So if you're about your business, go build your business, but don't be dependent on anybody else to put you on. Figure out ways to collaborate with artists that are where you're at and are going to get bigger. You're going to get way more bang for your buck doing that instead of paying somebody. I mean, again, if you guys want to pay people, cool. I'm not mad at paying for features. Just do it strategically. Just do it intentionally, because it's a long-term play. So those are my thoughts on Christian hip hop. How do I convince people that it's a business? I just say, hey, you've been doing it your way and you're broke and you're frustrated, or you could try it a different way and make some money. You know, I think that's what it's about. From a Christian standpoint, I think the deeper question is, can you be a part of something? Can you keep doing something responsibly, especially as we progress and people become spouses and people have kids? Can you justify putting so much time into something that isn't giving you anything back? Right? And a lot of Christians have to answer that question for themselves. Can you justify time away from your family, time away from your kids, your spouse, not making a ton of money on this glorified hobby? And there's nothing wrong with hobbies. There's nothing wrong with hobbies. If you want to have hobbies, but don't call it something it's not. If you want to minister, go start a nonprofit and minister. Go start a church, go start a small group, go do outreach ministry, do all that. If you want to be an artist who's a Christian and ministers through their art, it's a different conversation, right? And if you want to be poor, then take a pledge of poverty and go be a monk. Right? Cool. I don't have no problem with that. Go do that. And there are Christian rappers who do that. They minister in the streets and they are really about that. But if you're talking about, so what we do is we combine these things. We take things like ministry and we project them onto business, and we think that they're not the same thing. What constitutes a successful ministry is not necessarily what constitutes a successful business. There's overlap in there. So I don't spend a lot of time convincing people, because if they don't get it, they don't get it. They're gonna be frustrated, and at some point they probably will quit rapping, or they'll find their true calling in ministry and go plant a church or start a small group or a home church. And so I think desiring to be a Christian who makes art is way closer to being an entrepreneur. It's way closer to what Chick-fil-A does. I don't know if you have Chick-fil-A out there, but it's way closer to what Chick-fil-A does than it is what the local church does. So if we want to see what's made Chick-fil-A so successful, we have to look at their culture, how they built their business. If you want to do a ministry, by all means, man, go. And there are rappers who literally start nonprofits and they raise funds and people support them, not through like a Patreon, but like through like private donations, and that's a tax deduction. I can think of a few people that they literally built their businesses as ministries. That's completely different than what I'm doing. That's completely different than what the majority of people who get into this want to do. And it's also, I don't want to speak to intent because I don't know people's heart, but it's also fairly narcissistic to think that God wants to use your special rap gift to save millions of people for Jesus. And that's what a lot of this is it not? People are like, oh, God's going to just use me, and I'm going to perform. I'm going to open up for Drake one day, and I'm going to preach the gospel, and millions of people are going to get saved. Like, you think you are the center of the universe thinking like that. You think it all revolves around you being some talented rapper that God just has to use your special little rap gift. God doesn't have to use any of us. He doesn't. It's not about you. It's not about you. It's not about you. What's up, I'm Escud? It's not about you. It's not about your gift. God does what he wants. God promotes who he wants. God uses who he wants. And we get to be a part of that in different ways. Some people are going to be worship artists. Some people are going to only play in churches. Some people are going to have massive platforms. Some people are going to be independent musicians. But to think that, because I'm talented, that therefore God has to give me a platform, so therefore he could preach the gospel through me, and it's a very warped narcissistic view of ministry, to be honest with you. It's like you're propping yourself to be an idol to an extent. So I don't convince people. I don't have that conversation with people. I let them figure it out, and usually most people eventually get frustrated, or they come around and they say, oh yeah, I could approach this different and approach this like a small business and not like I'm starting a church.